Y'all ready for this? Welcome to Sports Kid Drama Kid. I'm Jim. I'm the Sports Kid.
I'm Andi. I'm the Drama Kid.
If you'd like to support our show, you can do that on Patreon. You can be a audio or video or both member and get all of our bonus episodes, of which there are quite a few piling up.
Quite a few now, yeah. You can also leave us a review on any of the platforms you're listening on.
Yes. Andi, today I'm just going to jump right into it and ask you, what do you know about Jerry Jones?
Nothing. That rings like literally zero bells in my head.
Okay. Good. All right.
It's just two names.
We're going to start fresh then.
I don't even know what sport.
The sport is football.
Oh, okay.
And Jerry Jones is an owner in football currently and has been for a while. So Jerry Jones attended the University of Arkansas, where he was a member of Kappa Sigma fraternity. He was a co-captain of the Arkansas 1964 National Championship football team. Yeah. He was an offensive lineman for college football Hall of Fame coach Frank Broyles and a teammate of college football and NFL coach Jimmy Johnson.
More names.
Have you heard Jimmy Johnson before?
Nope.
Okay. Jerry Jones married his wife, Eugenia Chambers, in 1963.
That's an awesome name that I will never forget.
Yeah, Eugenia Chambers, they met at University of Arkansas and married in college. Which I think was more of a thing back then.
What, 1960s?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are still doing it now, but now it's weird.
Usually it's a little after, even if they met in college, kind of thing.
Not at the college I went to.
Wait, people married in college where you went?
No, I meant people were not doing that because it was mostly straight women and gay men. And then the very few straight men really had their pick.
So he played and roomed with Jimmy Johnson, who you don't know yet, but he will become a vital part of this at Arkansas. And according to Jimmy Johnson, he would sell insurance at his dad's company on the weekends while going to school at Arkansas and then come back and then do, his Arkansas stuff and sports stuff and all that. He always had a business and money-making mind. Okay.
Interesting.
I feel like everyone that makes some money or has family money has like a story or backstory of being a business guy.
Because they want to cover up the fact that they come from family money. Yeah. They're like, don't worry, I was selling insurance in college.
Yeah, and even before that I did lemonade and I had all these businesses. It's always a big business backstory.
I was always hustling and my trust fund was just there.
Yeah. So after his graduation, Jones' parents moved to Springfield, Missouri, where Pat, his dad, was the president and chairman of Modern Security Life Insurance. And this was like a company that was very early-ish to the life insurance game in Missouri specifically. And it started as like a $400,000 thing and bloomed to like $6 million in total assets in a matter of a few years. And it was seen as sort of like a miracle company. Now, think what you will about life insurance. Like it's a little bit scammy.
Sure. All insurance is scammy.
And so, yeah, he has a bunch of life insurance money. His family does, the Jones family, Pat Jones. After graduating from the University of Arkansas, Jerry was listed as an executive vice president at Modern Life Insurance.
As one does when they're always hustling and their dad owns the company.
Yep. So with the success of the company, Jerry's dad, Pat, assembled a ranch because he wanted to live this like outdoor retirement life where he fished off his own land and like raised cattle on his own land and was all self-sustainable.
Yeah, this is a thing.
This was a era before boomer thing.
Yeah, I mean it's still sort of happening now, like a homesteading vibe is now creeped into social media. But
yeah, so he owns this property and he wants to do something with it to sort of give back to the community. He's a big animal lover, and he creates a part of his property and names it Buena Vista Animal Paradise. So it's like a roadside safari for people in Missouri.
Oh, it's like a tourist attraction?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was, I guess, like sort of a not that much stuff being offered in that area, but there's like this beautiful Ozark mountain area. And he was like, oh, we can fix a tourist problem in Missouri by offering like an animal
and
paradise.
Did he like bring in animals that are not native to?
Oh yes. He brought in a lot of animals. And I was looking at this on Wikipedia and was like, okay, where's any info about this? This is fascinating. And so I looked into it. I found some like postcards and things on eBay that were clearly from that era. But then I found the brochure from when they opened.
Oh my God.
And I bought it.
Oh no.
And it's from like the 1970s. It's Buena Vista
my God.
Exotic Animal Paradise. Here's the brochure. I'm showing it to the camera if you're watching. And in it is a full color map layout of all the different animals. It's actually kind of beautiful. It's like one of those classic zoo brochures, but like it's on like nice cardstock.
Ooh.
Anyway, there's a ton.
Someone kept this in mint condition.
Yeah. There's a ton here about this that wasn't really anywhere else. And this is Pat Jones.
Okay.
And it's clearly written by him and maybe fact checked by somebody else, but it's like a big biographical bio sort of thing about his entire life and how he came to build Buena Vista's Exotic Animal Paradise. I'll have you read a little bit from this in a minute, but I wanted to show you just some old footage of the paradise through the years.
Oh my God.
Sorry, we're going to go on a little tangent here. This is like old 8mm, whatever. There's no sound, so sorry.
That's okay.
But you can see the lions.
Oh my God.
You can see them sleeping on things. Ostriches coming up to old 60s, 70s cars.
Oh my God.
Pecking.
I would love to meet an ostrich.
Pride Rock. People
just shirtless tourists. Oh my God, there's
goats.
A little girl riding a tortoise.
Girls riding tortoises. You get to do everything with these animals. There's an elephant.
Oh.
Little baby.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know about the animal.
Given
sort of
the
cruelty
fact that I was about to say, given the fact that there's a child riding a tortoise, I feel like the rules of animal safety
they might have changed over the years. But I was reading more into the history of it, and apparently it was sold in 1996 by the Joneses, and then like purchased by somebody else. There's not really much on this, but I found this on Reddit. It says, Exotic Animal Paradise was open for nearly 35 years on I-44 near Springfield, Missouri. The park later reopened as Wild Animal Safari. And then, here's like a Exotic Animal Paradise
it's
when it changed into that.
Billboard. Yeah. The camel and a giraffe.
Right. So it's been going on.
If anyone listening to this has visited, please reach out.
Yeah. And then I did find one video of it in 2014. And this is a family going around to various cattle, which is a big thing they have on here because, it was exotic. Like they had some exotic things like zebras and things, but they also just had like exotic cattle and exotic animals that are more like kind of normal.
Because it was a big ranch in Missouri. Yeah.
So I'll show you a little bit of this. This is a family going to the ranch in 2014.
Oh my God. Part 3, the big ones: llamas, bulls, camels, buffalo.
Oh. All right, here we go. Punching it in my ear. All right. Whoop, whoop.
No, get one of the donkeys.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I put one on his head too. Nobody did it.
Oh, there we go. Gene Joshua, right there.
What is?
What?
There was like a little deer there.
These are weird little
They're all
things
following.
here.
Oh, gee, lift up the window.
Oh my God.
No, lift up the window.
Put the window up, Jeff.
Oh, sorry. Take a big bite.
There is a alpaca or a llama.
That's a llama.
With its head in the car.
Oh my God.
You got a good video.
Here's buffalo.
Oh man.
Come here.
They just come right up to the car.
Big black tongue. Oh, there you go.
This is so loosely supervised. Oh my God. This is complete sensory overload. This video has a lot of great things in it. The dad is really hamming it up. The animals are not supervised at all. And the children in the back are just screaming.
So one of the things that he did on this farm, from reading this brochure, I read the entirety of it, was breed cattle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's interesting. And I sort of stopped on that page because it felt like a little different. Everything else was like, oh my God, see all these beautiful animals, and we're providing you with an opportunity to do so. And then I came across this page, which I'll have you read because it's interesting.
Okay.
Just read the headline and then that little paragraph.
Got it.
We're reading from Physical Media.
Purpose and results of our breeding program. There has been a lot of development of the different breeds going on. For example, the crossing of buffalo and other domestic species of animals. There will be expanded research programs with the different breeds in an endeavor to establish a fast-growing animal that will not only make use of the Ozark grasses, but will also browse on the brush. The brush has always been a problem to the cattleman of the Ozarks. It has been a problem to release the soil so there would be full production of grass. To have a breed that can handle both grass and brush at the same time could be revolutionary to cattle production at a cost that would save the housewife considerably when buying food for her family.
I know.
Not only would the crossbreed save the housewife in dollars, but should produce a more tastier meat for the table. Okay, more tastier, not grammatically correct. Also, the housewife
so many
mentions,
housewife name drops.
I love the idea of like someone reading this at the ranch, like a housewife, and being like, oh, as a housewife, I could save dollars.
Save dollars and have access to leaner meats.
I hope they have success making these different cows have sex with each other.
I hope those cows fuck very well so that we can then have a leaner meat.
Oh my God.
I hope it takes.
I hope it takes you.
So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting little thing. I was like, oh, he was using this, always the business-minded family. He was using this as an alternate business route, which is smart, but it's also like a little bit funny to see that couched within a brochure about
it's such an interesting way to live your life, to be like, I have this dream of opening this thing, and then you open the thing and you're like, how can I be making more money off this thing? Let's start another thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a crossbreeding cattle tangent. Sorry,
Great. We're
in advance.
We're already so in the weeds today.
I needed to know. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to Jerry Jones, really.
We are in the brush.
We're in the brush.
Let's see if the cows will eat the brush.
Yes, they will sometimes. So this crossbreeding tangent, I'm just going to go on for a little bit here because I thought it was really funny and interesting, and I knew nothing about cattle, even being from Wisconsin, because it was mostly dairy cows there.
And also, you don't know much about cattle.
I'm not a cattle guy.
Anyway, it is funny, like, being from the East Coast, when we first started dating, I was like, yeah, I'm dating this guy from Wisconsin. And, like, do you remember, like, some of my friends that met you were like, what's your farm like? And you were like, no one ever said I had a farm.
Live on a farm. People from Wisconsin cannot live on farms.
Yeah.
Or not know anything about it.
It is possible. Yeah. I remember at one point a friend thought you had, like, an apple orchard. I was like, you are making stuff up. I never said anything about that.
You didn't say you were dating Johnny Appleseed.
Well, that was another story.
Oh, God. So, two of the cattle buffalo crossbreeds that Buena Vista mentioned were the Bromelo and the Herfalo. And I'll show you those again in case you forgot.
I did not register them.
This is a Herfalo.
Oh my God.
It's a fluffy brown cow with a white head. And this is a Bromelo. And that's a Brahma cow from India crossed with the buffalo.
And this is a Hereford?
Yes.
Is that the word?
Yeah, I'll get into that in a second.
Stop jumping ahead.
So the
Andy.
Bromelo is a mix of the Brahman cow with a bison buffalo.
Okay.
They're trying to make a leaner, more efficient meat and have the cattle be more tame and docile, because I think Brahman are usually pretty...
Okay, so it's not just all about the grass and the brush.
No, it's trying to make it easier for everyone, for the farmers. And then the Herfalo is a mix between a Hereford, which is from England, and it's like a very popular cow breed for meat, and a bison. Again, similar reasoning. And that one is like just to try to make them more hardy.
I see.
All right. So here's a video I found from the Eastern Brahman Breeders Association or something.
Okay.
They're a very specific organization for breeding Brahman cows. And I'm just going to play a little bit of.
I've raised commercial cattle about 30 years. I don't really want to give my age away, but a long time. I had told my husband that I love the way Brahman cattle look. One day he saw an ad in our Ag Review, the North Carolina Ag Review, for a red Brahman bull, a registered red Brahman bull. We went and looked at him, we bought him. He was a yearling. And there was just something so unique about him. So I told my husband, I said, we're in trouble. And he goes, what? I said, we've got to find him girlfriends. They have to be red and they have to be registered. And we traveled many states to go get that herd. we couldn't be happier we haven't looked back. These Brahmins have a very unique personality.
Brahmin cattle want attention, need attention, and they give you what you give them.
Brahma cattle are almost human in a way, in the way they talk to you with their eyes. Each one of them has their own individual, distinct personality.
They are by far the smartest breed of cattle anywhere in the world.
They remember, they don't forget.
Very easy to handle cattle if treated properly.
They're very reactionary, and they're going to treat you a lot like you treat them.
Oh, but they're like killing them,
Yeah,
though.
it's sad.
Oh,
I know.
They're so cute and sweet looking.
Yeah.
I forgot that some cows have humps like camels.
Yeah, well, at least these Brahmin do.
Yeah, wild.
So yeah, that's a Brahmin, and that's what they mixed with a buffalo, or tried to, on the Buena Vista Ranch.
Okay.
And then the Hereford is another type of cattle. So we're just learning about two of the most popular beef cattle. And I'll play you a little bit about that.
Oh, this is more like the classic cow that I think most Americans are familiar
Throughout
with.
the mountains, over the vast prairies and to the edge of the continent, Canada is a place where premier beef cattle are raised. Canadian Herefords
also in the
been
US.
raised across these varied landscapes since the late 1800s, when Hereford cattle were first imported from England. Hereford cattle dominated the Canadian cattle industry for many generations because of their ability to adapt to Canada's harsh and extreme climates. Hereford cattle are prized for their quiet disposition, which makes them easy to work with. Excitable cattle have been shown to yield lower quality beef, making the docility of Hereford cattle a very desirable trait. You can trust that Hereford cattle will be easy on your fences and equipment. Part of the Hereford's ability to thrive in many different landscapes is their uncanny ability to do more with less. You can trust Herefords lead the herd when it comes to feed efficiency.
Oh my God.
It's also clinical talking about them, and it's very sad.
So it's very, and I say this like, I'm not a vegan. I love animals. I know that like there are a lot of problems with meat production in this country. I really can't speak to that. But it's weird to watch a video that's like, they're so docile. You can just raise them and kill them, and then they make new ones. It's really easy.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
It's sad because they're so cute.
A lot of these bison crossbreeds mixed with, Herefords or Brahmins that we just saw are just lumped into the term beefalo as sort of the like marketing term for the meat.
Also a DJ somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, DJ Beefalo.
DJ Beefalo.
Throwing down the beefiest tracks known to man.
Grade A track.
Graze on this. Oh, God. So there was sort of a boon of this crossbreeding in the 1960s and 70s, right when Buena Vista was thriving. So it was kind of like hot to get in on that, like pickleball is now or something. So that's part of the reason too why he like wanted to, maybe somehow come across this magical new breed. There was some success, but not really, I don't think, on that front. These crossbreed beefalo type animals are, good for certain types of meat production. It hasn't really caught on in terms of vast amounts of these, but the animals are sort of invasive when they get out or when the crossbreed sort of, makes it into the wild. And that has been sort of a problem, especially like in the Grand Canyon with these like sort of crossbreed cattle.
Really?
Sort of causing issues to
like in the ecosystem or whatever?
Ecosystem.
It's just like Pablo Escobar's hippos.
Wait, what's that?
Pablo Escobar, famed drug kingpin, I guess brought some hippos to his like big estate in Colombia in the 80s. And like now they're like totally trashing the ecosystem of Colombia because like something about like their shit like messes up the water or something.
Wow.
There's literally a New York Times article, I just pulled it up, titled Colombia to sterilize Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos.
Oh, God. Just to clarify for you and everybody, this is a beefalo. A beefalo is 37.5% American bison.
Okay.
Registered beefalo herds are consistent 3/8 bison, 5/8 domestic bovine. And here's sort of a graphic that shows
of
that.
like just how much buffalo is in the animal.
Apparently there's also a catalo, which is even more buffalo.
I see.
And then
the American buffalo has a little bit of cow in it.
Because I think what happened there is in order to get the American buffalo to thrive again, there's a little bit of cow in it. I don't know exactly how. I think it just happened naturally.
I like can't help myself. I keep just like having like flashes of like the people whose job it is to like make these cows breed, and I'm just like, that is literally someone's job to be like, come on, go ahead, go do it.
All right, we're getting near the end of this tangent here. I promise. And then we'll get to the actual topic.
That's fine.
Of the episode. So here's a guy talking about beefalo in a way that is, well, I'll just let you hear.
Once upon a time in the rolling grass hills of Washington State, Billy Bull met Betty Bison on a beautiful spring day.
Oh, God.
As Billy Bull and Betty Bison grew to know each other, a love affair was on the horizon. And a few months later, under a beautiful tall maple tree, baby beefalo was born.
Oh.
And what an amazing baby it turned out to be. Let me introduce you to an amazing new product from Heartland Home Foods.
Oh, no.
Hi, I'm Jerry Freistadt, president of Heartland Home Foods. And even though it's nice to talk about our new beefalo product in a fairy tale, the real story goes like
Oh, you mean
this.
that wasn't true?
A purebred registered beefalo is an American bison cross. Always 3/8
There's
bison.
that image you just showed me.
Various high-grade domestic cattle breeds are selected for desirable qualities to produce the remaining 5/8 heritage. Beefalo is easier to produce with a smaller eco footprint. It's nutrient dense, and its lean meat's exceptional flavor and texture is a best kept secret in the agricultural and health food world. In fact, the elite athlete, competitor, and bodybuilding world, it is known as the miracle protein.
Talking to some of those CrossFit guys.
Consumers are rapidly shifting to health-conscious food choices and environmental sustainability. Beefalo is the new go-to for both the American beef farmer and the mindful consumer.
As you can see, these cattle producers are sort of marketing their hybrid. Like, that's the other thing that just, this whole thing was interesting to me, because there's all these people that have to like market beef as a product, and then it's animals.
And it's really weird because you're like, the way they market beef as a product, they're like, we took 2 different kinds of animals, made them have sex. Okay, now there's this animal. Look how beautiful and special and unique this animal is. It's delicious.
Yeah, so smart and delicious.
My best friend and delicious.
Got me through my divorce and delicious. This all leads me to my final beefalo related story.
The big finale.
And this is, I just got to show you it.
Buddy the beefalo is moving along to new pastures. He was headed for the slaughterhouse, but decided to make a run for it. Now, his new home will be a sanctuary farm in Gainesville, Florida. Officers here at the Plymouth Police Department are excited for him. Many of them helped him find his new home.
This was the feel-good story we've all been waiting for in times of COVID and a lot of other problems in this country. It was a nice distraction.
Here's the backstory.
So back in August, Buddy was at the Plymouth meat locker where he was being offloaded for processing, and he took his opportunity to escape and was on the run for the last 8 months in the surrounding area of Plymouth.
Captain Edward Benecki says Buddy was not secluded but surviving on grass, hay, and water and grain with the help of a neighbor known to police throughout the winter.
He was just out and about, hanging around, so we would routinely take 911 phone calls about Buddy sightings.
Last week, Buddy looking for familiars.
Buddy found cows in a nearby farm, got into their pen, and wasn't able to get out. And the farmer, his son, and a couple of their friends were able to capture him safely.
Officers rescuing him.
He didn't want to be rescued, so we had to capture him.
Officers, however, did save him from a burger fate, paying for his release through collecting donations in a GoFundMe page and raising over $8,500.
We call it his bail. They paid his bail. And so they paid the original farmer to release him.
Aaron Ammerman, founder and president of Critter Creek Farm Sanctuary, tells us Buddy is being transported to his original home. There he will see a veterinarian and later be transported to Critter Creek Farm.
Yeah, so the heartwarming story of Buddy the beefalo finishes that up.
He really made a run for it. I love that.
And then they allowed him to
I
live.
follow a lot of farm sanctuaries on TikTok and Instagram, and they are wonderful places. I just also love the policeman being like, there's been a lot of bad stuff going on. We feel really good about getting to distract you with this nice
feel-good
beefalo story.
Okay, so that's a little detour on cattle because of the Buena Vista exotic animal paradise. Getting back to our Jones family story. Jerry Jones' dad made a bunch of life insurance money. Jerry also worked there and made life insurance money. Jerry Jones' dad, Pat, decided to start a ranch for people to go to and to breed cattle.
Amazing.
So now we'll go into Jerry Jones and his business ventures post-college.
Awesome.
All right, so after Jerry Jones graduated from college, he borrowed a bunch of money from his dad to start a few businesses, and they didn't really work out. And he worked at his dad's life insurance company while receiving his master's degree in business. After several other unsuccessful business ventures, including an attempt to purchase the San Diego Chargers football team in 1966, because he was, obviously a former football player. That didn't go through, though. He finally did make it big with his oil and gas company called Jones Oil and Land Lease.
Always a reliable way to make money. If your other business ventures fail, just buy some oil.
Use your family money to buy oil and then use that resource to make more money.
Yep.
So yeah, he made a bunch of money and he used that to then actually buy a football team.
Okay.
And this time it was the Dallas Cowboys.
America's team.
Yes. So basically, he took money from his company and land that he had and sold that and gathered the resources to buy the Cowboys in 1989 for $140 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that much money nowadays for a professional franchise, but a lot of money.
That's not why I said wow.
I know. Sure. On February 25th, 1989, Jones purchased the Cowboys from H.R. Bum Bright.
I thought you were going to say Puffin Stuff.
H.R. Puffin Stuff. It's the equivalent of $342 million today.
Okay. They're both a lot of money.
At the time of the sale, the financially troubled Bum Bright claimed to be losing $1 million a month on the franchise, and so he was eager to sell to Jones.
Were they not winning?
They were also not doing that great.
I see.
Yeah. All right. So Jones comes in and he wants to shake things up. He's got all these ideas and he wants to make the Cowboys great again. And so soon after the purchase, he fired longtime coach Tom Landry.
Okay.
Known as like the only coach of the Cowboys to that point. From like when the NFL existed. Yeah.
Wow.
And so he's like a legend and he's won there and done everything there for them. And he comes in and fires Landry like right away. And
that's going to make some waves.
Not really happy with that. At this point, he was the only coach in their history and he fired him for his old Arkansas teammate, Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
From way back in the day. Now, Jimmy, since, they played in college, had gone down the coaching path.
I see.
And become a super successful coach with the Miami Hurricanes football team. They just had an incredible run at that time.
Was that before the Dolphins?
No, the Miami Hurricanes are the college.
Oh, I see.
University of Miami.
Got it.
And yeah, he was like, I'm going to bring my old friend in here who's also happens to be a super successful college coach. Perfect marriage of our skill sets.
Yeah.
A few months later, he also fired the longtime general manager, Tex Schramm. And that's when he took over complete control of like football decisions too. Again, like I said earlier, there's not very many people that do that.
Yeah. So typically people who own it aren't.
They hire a general manager who knows football better to do the football stuff.
But Jerry Jones was like, who knows football better than me?
I will make those decisions and own the team. Yeah.
Got it.
So, as I sort of alluded to, those firings of Landry and Schramm did not go over well initially in Dallas because football is, everything down there. And at that time especially, and they were like, why are you just coming in firing our guys? Here's a story from CNN from the time about the firing of Landry.
Tom Landry was back at his desk over the weekend, but this time to empty it. The 64-year-old Landry had coached the Cowboys from the moment they were conceived, but now it's over. And Monday morning, this legend walked through the team's complex for perhaps the last time. He met with his players, told them he loved them, and asked them to give their best to the new coach, and to, above all, keep their composure, the way he always did.
Yeah, this is a crisis, in a football team when you have a changing of the guard, and and they've got to take a positive attitude, and that's the thing I like to see them do. And the other thing is tell them how much I was going to miss them.
And the feeling was unmistakably mutual.
It's a tough business, and it's cutthroat sometimes, but you never think that somebody like him is subject to all of that.
He didn't ask any sympathy from any player on the team. What he asked is that we continue to go out there and give it 110%. And I think that shows that he's the foundation of this organization, and that he want to continue to see this organization do well.
To a man, the players said there was a better way to let Landry go. The cold fact is, though, he was unceremoniously dumped, the way coaches who have never enjoyed a fraction of his success are dumped. But Landry, in keeping with his character, refused to take a parting shot.
I'm not better. That's just my nature is not to be better. I just think that you have to judge people as to how they operate, and sure, I think right now they could have done it a lot better.
But Monday in Arkansas, new owner Jerry Jones insisted he was sensitive to the subject.
The point is that it did mean everything to me for Coach Landry to hear what I had to say in the manner I had to say it as quickly as possible. And that was done. We made every effort in the world. Frankly, Coach Landry would have known about it a second after Tex Schramm knew about it if we could have gotten to him.
And suddenly, he was gone, saying he would not return to football and was only sorry he went out a loser. But surely he knows better than that, because we know losing is something Tom Landry will never be remembered for.
All right, so the second half of this clip is a little story about when he fired the general manager after Landry.
Okay.
A little bit later, as I mentioned.
This is a very emotional time for me.
To be expected, Texas Schramm, yes, that's his given name, resigned today as club president after 29 years to run the new International Football League.
So Tom Landry was really beloved. Honestly, his exit seemed pretty classy, I have to say. I have to give him kudos for that. I don't know, obviously, anything else about him as a person. Never heard of him before today. But
yeah,
I do appreciate that he didn't I don't know, he just left in a very classy way that didn't ruffle too many feathers.
Yeah. And as you could imagine, the entire area was also heartbroken that their legendary coach was gone.
Yeah.
They might have thought that new times are ahead and better times are ahead, but they're still going to mourn their only coach ever. The people reacted sort of negatively, or at least in a sort of melancholy way, to the Landry and Schramm firings. And there was actually someone who wrote a dedication parody to Tom Landry from a local radio station.
Gosh.
And this was just a fan? A fan that was also a radio DJ.
Gotcha.
I think.
Okay.
And knew
DJ Beefalo?
Knew something about music production. Made this. And this is a little story from that time about the song being made.
Comments from KEGL listeners spawned the idea. There was Jolene from Farmers Branch.
She said, I used to think I was a Dallas Cowboys fan. Now I realize I was a Tom Landry fan.
Look at that hair.
The Landry generation.
This is a Mike and the Mechanics song.
Yep. Parody.
This is The Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics.
Yeah. He goes with some frustration.
Oh my God.
But he's seen it all before.
They call it the Landry Years, a musical tribute to a sports legend, the man with the hat, the man with heart.
We've all felt the magic.
Oh my God.
As we watched him from the stands. And now it seems so tragic. The way they treated this great man.
Oh no.
It was more than sports. The Cowboys were a lifestyle. And to see the man who pioneered the whole thing just being thrown away like yesterday's paper, it really hurts.
KEGL disc jockey Dave Craddock wrote the words and put them to the music of a #1 hit.
In the Landry years.
Oh, man.
KEGL will release the song tomorrow morning, and it's expected to be a big hit. In fact, other stations that have heard about the song are already calling for copies.
We thank you, Tom Landry, for
I am so speechless.
And we take.
Okay, this is such a an iconic time capsule, like the late 80s, early 90s radio station culture.
Yeah.
That guy who wrote it, his hair, which is like a mullet that also has like a little curl flip at the bottom and the back. Also, I don't know if you know this about me. I love Mike and the Mechanics. I love that song.
I didn't know that.
Yes. A friend of mine introduced me to them when I was in college, and like, I don't know, they write good music. It pulls the heartstrings. It was a good choice for a parody.
I'm going to have you read just a little bit from a news article that came out in the Mesquite, Texas News around that time. And I think this is actually just an AP story.
Okay.
And it's called Tom is Gone, but He's Far From Forgotten.
Tom Landry is gone, but it may be a long time before he's forgotten if this first week as ex-coach of the Dallas Cowboys is any indication. Billboards across town pay tribute to Landry, the only coach the Cowboys ever had until the team was sold to Arkansas oil man Jerry Jones, who fired Landry and imported his own college roommate, University of Miami coach Jimmy Johnson. Ooh, little dig there.
Yep.
A sampling. Tom Landry, thanks for 29 great years. And Tom Landry, best ever. Some fans have attached blue ribbons to their car antennas as a show of support. Wow. The information line at radio station KZPS became, quote, the Landry line, and more than 2,000 fans called in to record a message, which was taped and will be forwarded to Landry. The station also has distributed about 5,000 bumper stickers with the message, thanks, coach. More bumper stickers are on order to meet the demand. Dave Craddock, host, that's the guy we just met, right? Dave Craddock, host of KEGL's morning radio show, wrote a ballad entitled The Landry Years as a tribute to the longtime coach. Quote, the whole city is in shock, Craddock said. The ballad, a takeoff on the current hit The Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics, depicts Landry as, quote, a Dallas hero for 29 long years. It was first aired Thursday morning, and the station received more than 500 calls by noon. The song is aired roughly every 2 hours. Quote, I can't think of anything that could so universally upset everybody like firing Tom Landry the way they did. Quote, we could play it every hour and it wouldn't be enough, Ed Nichols, the station's promotion director, said. A store called the LA Connection has sold more than 200 t-shirts at $24 a piece with the message, quote, hats off to Tom Landry. More on order, and manager Kelly Daigle said the shirts are flying out the door.
All right, you can stop there, but you get the idea.
God.
Just how like beloved he was and how actually tragic this was.
Yeah, and also like a really good business opportunity.
Yeah, hats off because he always wore that, that classic hat.
They played the song every 2 hours.
And could have played it more.
Wow. I mean, I feel that way about the original Mike and the Mechanics.
That is the first big drama of this.
Yeah, so like Dallas has been like rocked.
Yeah. Jerry Jones comes in, he upsets the apple cart. He fires Andy Reid after buying the Chiefs if it was like kind of like that or something like, you know, comparable to that.
Oh, people would be pissed.
Yeah, they'd be like, what are you doing? That's our guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was there longer, obviously, but it's just something that you just take for granted that Tom Landry.
Andy Reid has not been on a losing streak.
No, but yeah.
But yes, I get it.
It's sort of actually more like Bill Belichick being replaced this year.
He was the Patriots.
Yeah, after winning all those Super Bowls and being a legend. And then they were like, we kind of don't want you anymore, Bill. Yeah. So one of Jerry's first orders of business was to shake things up with the cheerleaders at Dallas. As you know, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are the most famous cheerleaders.
A dynasty.
And they were before, you know, Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys. They were a thing. Jerry wanted them to be more of like his own sort of like playthings.
He wanted to be like the Hugh Hefner of the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Ew, that's weird.
Yeah, and here's a Casper Star Tribune article that I'm going to have you read a little bit from about this sort of cheerleader takeover.
Cheerleader rebellion hits Dallas. Veterans quit after new owner changes rules, attire. Oh, I don't like this. 14 veteran members of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders have quit the team because new owner Jerry Jones wants them to wear skimpier uniforms, fraternize with the players, and appear in beer commercials. I'm resigning, said Debbie Bond, 36, director of Cowboys cheerleaders. I was about to be like, good for them for having a 36-year-old cheerleader. She's the director. Bond, who has been with the organization for 10 years, said she talked with Jones on Thursday after hearing that the Arkansas oil man, they keep referring to him as Arkansas oil man as if he's like a Monopoly villain.
Well, he kind of is to them. And they're like, they don't like other southern states because like we don't like Arkansas. We play them in football and stuff. And he's coming in from his state to take over our team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear it.
It's good.
After hearing that the Arkansas oil man who purchased the team earlier this year had told the players there would be fraternization between the players and cheerleaders. He said, "You can either accept it or move on," Bond said. Mr. Jones does not believe in rules. Bond resigned Friday morning, a Cowboys spokeswoman said. Quote, "I was not aware of the concern, nor was I certainly aware that any of those cheerleaders were having those kinds of feelings," Jones told KRLD Radio on Friday. "I'm going to be in the future visiting with them. I've never met them at all. I've only visited with Debbie Bond 3 times, Jones said. Jones, calling the 37 cheerleaders, quote, "the pick of the litter," oh, I hate this man, denied the rules would be changed. At issue, he said, is determining how cheerleaders will be punished when they break the rules. If cheerleaders fraternize with players or drink in uniform, he would like to review their behavior rather than summarily firing them as they would be now, he said at a news conference. Quote, "I have great confidence in the ability of adults to make the right decisions when they know what the policy is," Jones said. "Those girls in the past and these girls now are wonderful women." I've never met any of them, but they're wonderful women. Quote, "Last Thursday night, we were told about the changes, being able to fraternize with all of the players and in the executive offices and playing hostesses at parties," quote, said Twiggy Issip, 21, a 2-year squad veteran who also said she would be leaving. Quote, "Suggestions were being made that the uniforms be changed to biker shorts and a halter top. Quote, "These changes are not good changes," Issip said. "All the things that the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders have worked to become would be gone. If these changes were to be made, we would be like any other NFL cheerleaders. We're more than that." All 14 veterans have said they will leave the team. The other 23 rookie members have until Monday to decide if they will stay with the team. The squad has been training in summer camp since May 6th. Oh my God, there's so much to unpack here. So he basically wants the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders to be like a combination of like Playboy bunnies and like Hooters waitresses.
Yes.
And that is like, no offense to Playboy bunnies and Hooters waitresses who are awesome in their own right. But he just clearly is like, I'm in charge of a football team now. I'm in charge.
I have these hot women traditionally that are always going to be in my organization through this cheerleader program. They're going to be part of the marketing, part of the branding. They're going to be around. They're going to be like hooking up with the players.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's kind of what's implied.
I mean, I don't disagree with his statement about like, you know, if the cheerleaders want to like have a drink or if they do want to.
Yeah, but that's just like brilliant spin.
Yeah, that's such spin though.
I just want to make sure that it's like, no, what you're actually doing is telling them they have to do these things.
All I'm trying to say is these are wonderful, beautiful women who have minds of their own and they should have sex with all the football players and bring me cocktails with their boobies out.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying. Because we're already paying them. Okay, so
I mean, good for all the women who quit, honestly.
Yeah. So here's a little opinion piece about this and Jerry Jones as the new owner that I'll also have you read.
Mm-hmm. Jane Whitledge. Yes, Jane. Okay. Don't blame Arkansas for Jerry Jones's ways. This is really funny because you picked, I can tell you picked an article based on that they keep calling him the Arkansas oil man. and I'm assuming that in this article, Jane Whitledge will be like, don't pin that on us. It's not our fault.
Well, we'll see.
Those of you who have met me may know that I spent many formative years in Arkansas. Therefore, please believe me when I tell you that not everyone in that natural state is a Jerry Jones. Even a lot of the good old boys there have enough sense not to use the term, quote, pick of the litter when referring to women in public or talking to the press. I say that even though I myself once had the unfortunate experience of having a man I was dating in Arkansas tell me I was, quote, just a pup. He learned real quick that little girl pups grow up to be something entirely different. Anyway, back to my original premise. Not all Arkansans are jerks, hillbillies, or bad-mannered. It's just Bill Clinton and Jerry Jones. I'm kidding, sorry. Jerry Jones and a few of his kind are a breed that knows no state boundary lines. They are everywhere. They go to church on Sunday and then spend all afternoon watching the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders making up fantasies that rarely fit the true lives the women lead. I know them. You know them. They are harmless until they buy a national football team or run for political office. Is she referring to Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
She must be, yeah. I wasn't shocked at the latest Jerry Jones-related disaster. In fact, I had sort of expected it. I know Jones says some of the things that have been printed lately were never said. Maybe they weren't. The latest developments make it appear he at least has had second thoughts. But I think it says a lot for 13 women who were righteous enough to say they knew the difference between leading cheers before thousands of excited fans and acting as a hostess at some unspecified type of team party. When I first heard the news about the cheerleaders, I thought of an old Sunday school story that I learned back in Arkansas. It was about this king who was having a drunken party with the guys and called for his wife Vashti to come in to dance for them. She's about to tell the story of Purim. Vashti refused, so the king just declared the hell with it, got rid of her, and went out and found another queen by the name of Esther. My old Sunday school teacher, a really tough old lady, didn't linger too long on the good qualities of Esther. She spent a lot of time pointing out to a bunch of 7th grade girls that it took a lot of guts to be a Vashti. I think the former Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders had a lot of guts and may have saved the organization's image. Maybe Vashti would have had a better fate if she'd known how to manage the media. I don't want to take a dig at Esther, because Esther also, the rest of the Purim story is that Esther is also like a badass lady. Okay. But Jane Whitledge, this is like incredible. I just love that. Like, you're not pinning this on Arkansas. Like, gross men are everywhere.
I loved that statement in particular. Like, not until they own something are they a problem, but they're everywhere.
Yeah, like leches be everywhere, and they are gross, awful men. They come in all shapes and sizes, all parts of the country.
Yeah.
That's so crazy that she alluded to. I can't. This article had everything. It predicted my obvious Bill Clinton joke, and then it told the story of Purim.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it sort of shows the character of Jerry Jones right away. That one of his like first orders of business was to shake up the cheerleaders and make them like waitresses. For him. Yeah, or at least try to. Yeah. And so in October of 1989, the Cowboys traded Herschel Walker, who you saw in that video. Mm-hmm. He was their superstar running back. He was kind of fading in his career, but still had some years left and name recognition. So they were able to get a ton of draft picks from the Minnesota Vikings for Herschel Walker. Again, people were probably like, why are we trading Herschel Walker? But it resulted in like draft capital that allowed him to draft like a lot of the Cowboys greats, including Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith.
I know those names.
Yeah, in the coming years, but that was a little bit into the future here still.
Okay.
So Jones and Johnson go 1-15 in their first year.
That means they won once and lost 15 times.
Yeah.
Damn.
Basically as bad as you can do. And I did want to play you a little bit of this video because they sort of roast the Cowboys about that year.
Okay.
Cowboy owner Jerry Jones never dreamed '89 would be so bad. He recruited one of college's greats, known for winning. But all that followed were losses.
The graphics in this are incredible.
Lost to 49.
In all, a season everyone would like to forget.
All the Microsoft Word art that's like, they lost to New Orleans.
And
they
49ers. Yeah. So there was definitely some I told you so sort of backlash happening.
I mean, not to defend Jerry Jones at all, because I hate this guy so far, but I have said this before. I do think it's funny that like a team will make some changes and then everyone is like, why aren't they immediately working?
Yeah.
And you're like, when in your life have you made a change? And then immediately you were like, yeah, this is going great.
Yeah, exactly. They don't really give people the benefit of the doubt for that in sports. Sometimes they do, but especially.
Well, and they also already rightfully hated this man. So they were just like, great.
Great. I'm now going to play you a little bit of a secret base video about the relationship between Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. Because it is a tumultuous one.
Interesting.
For a lot of different reasons.
Former roommates.
So Secret Base is like a YouTube channel that does a lot of good video content that's similar to stuff that we do.
Okay.
I'm going to play you this.
But just as Jones bought a Dallas franchise bleeding money off the field and losing on it, Johnson was red hot, riding a 52-9 run with the Hurricanes. Johnson loved Miami, but the allure of the NFL and rebuilding the legendary Cowboys brand was too much. To get Johnson to leave one dynasty in hopes of building another, Jones convinced his old teammate with one simple agreement. Johnson would have complete control over the football, and Jones all the business. This seemingly simple arrangement would be the root cause of all the strife to come. To this day, Johnson says he was the sole decision maker in free agency, trades, and drafts, while Jones, the self-appointed general manager, claims he helped architect the roster of what would become America's team. The city of Dallas's reputation in the 1980s was as a glitzy boomtown, a culture constructed to coddle the kind of millionaires who couldn't truly feel rich unless they were showing it. Jones and Johnson were both overqualified to fix the Cowboys, and success seemed inevitable, but as archetypes of both their respective industries and the era, they were doomed. Johnson and/or Jones stripped the Cowboys down and rebuilt through a painful 1-15 season in 1989.
So that's sort of the roots of the Jerry and Jimmy conflict. Like they mentioned there, part of the agreement for Jimmy coming there was that he would take on all the football operations. I know football. Jerry, you handle the business. You're a business genius. But as we've already seen, Jerry Jones is the general manager because he wants football influence. And so started this dynamic between the two of them where Jerry wants to be seen as the one who did all of this, and so does Jimmy.
Yeah. Jerry's trying to take credit for things that like Jimmy thinks he deserves sole credit for.
A battle of credit.
Yeah.
As I feel like is always the case in every industry.
Yes, because when you reduce that fraction, it's a dick measuring contest.
Yeah. So Jones quickly built the Cowboys into a team that is often considered one of the best franchises in the NFL.
This is when we start getting the America's team era.
Yeah, the Cowboys win the Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson in 1992, and this was sort of the start of the Cowboys becoming America's team as we know them. They had Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman by then. This is also where Jimmy Johnson becomes famous for saying, "How about them Cowboys?" And I'll play you a little Jimmy Johnson interview.
Now, I've been doing a lot of talking,
but
the things that you said, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. Hey, thanks to you guys, y'all did the walking, all right? Hey, and one thing, this week I'm not going to say a word. You know how I feel, but I'm not going to say a word, but I will say one thing right now. How about them Cowboys?
So it seems like he was pretty well liked by contrast to Jerry Jones, or because they were winning, people start to like Jerry Jones.
Well, they start to like Jimmy Johnson. I think maybe even more than Jerry. But
it's so weird, by the way, just as an aside, that it's JJ and JJ.
JJ. Yeah, I didn't really even think about that.
I'm having trouble keeping them straight.
I didn't know where else to put this, so I put it here. I once wore a Deion Sanders Cowboys jersey because I really liked him as a kid to my babysitter's house, and their kids told me that their dad was going to get really mad when he got home and saw someone was wearing a Cowboys jersey in their house.
Oh my God.
Because that's how big of Packer fans they were and he was. And I just wrote, it was scary when I was 9.
Yeah. That's a scary thing to say to your friends. Like, my dad's going to be super pissed at you for the shirt you have on.
And I was like, oh no, I can't wear this.
I mean, I feel like your family has always been unique to Wisconsin in that you guys have appreciation and some fandom for teams that are not Wisconsin teams.
Yeah.
I mean, and also just like at that time, though, I remember being 9 years old. Every single guy at my school had a variety of jerseys,
including Cowboys ones because they were America's team.
Oh, there were tons of Cowboys jerseys mixed in with, Eagle stuff.
Yeah. So after the first Super Bowl win, people start to notice a tension between Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. And it was having to do with, as that video mentioned and I mentioned, who was more pivotal in this quick turnaround.
Yeah, because like they were bad. Jones bought them, enlisted Jimmy. They were bad again for a season. And then like things started to really pick up steam after that.
So here's another little clip from that secret base video that just sort of fills in this story.
Jones had literal ownership, but was starved for credit. For the 1992 draft, Jones allowed television cameras to broadcast the Cowboys' War Room live, but without audio, a move Johnson begrudgingly agreed to before realizing Jones was creating his own personal reality show. Johnson was now working out a draft day trade with the Cleveland Browns on live TV. So, according to a Sports Illustrated story, Jones allegedly told his coach, "Whenever you're about to make a pick, you look at me like we're talking about it." In the 1992 and 93 seasons, the Cowboys would win back-to-back Super Bowls over the Buffalo Bills, ensconcing both men as NFL legends and cementing the Cowboys as both a nationally popular brand and a burgeoning dynasty. But behind the scenes, Johnson and Jones were barely speaking, often battling over petty grievances and a long-term war over who was most responsible for the wild success at hand. In his book, Johnson claims that winning on the field only made his life inside the franchise worse. "My deteriorating relationship with Jerry was compounded by the draining role I played in driving the team to a second Super Bowl title." In December of '93, during the run to another championship, a frustrated Johnson told reporters that the idea of coaching the brand new Jacksonville Jaguars franchise was intriguing, a comment years later he admitted was just public posturing to irk Jones.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that sort of going on in the press and in the behind the scenes, but probably not directly between the two of them.
Not to make this about gender, but like these two knuckleheads, you're winning. Things are going well. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
It's just funny to see like two grown men who are having success at the thing they want to have success at, and they're like still having like this stupid, tedious argument with each other.
All right. And just to further show you their relationship, here's an interview of Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson in January of 1994.
Oh my God, together?
Together.
Wow.
Cowboys coach Jimmy Johnson and the team's owner Jerry Jones. Jimmy looking to become just the fourth different coach to win back-to-back Super Bowls. He would join Lombardi, Shula, and Knowles.
So this is before their second
Jimmy
Super Bowl
Jerry
win.
have been a bit of a sideshow here in Atlanta this week. Probably the two most sought-after and quotable personalities here in the days leading up to the Super Bowl. Our Bob Costas was able to sit down with both of them together.
I think that we were close. I think we were friends. I don't think that we had the relationship that everybody thought when we first got to the Cowboys. I think everybody, felt like we were friends in a way socially, as far as spending time together, and I think more than anything else, it was respect and knowing each other more than it was a really a friendship to where we spent a lot of time together for 20, 25 years.
You were roommates only because it was alphabetical, right? On the road, exactly. Jones and Johnson, so you wound up as roommates, not like you were bosom buddies, right?
Exactly. It happened that for a time we played in and around some of the same positions, but it really was road and Jones and Johnson. But let me say that there was a perception that we were confident. And that just wasn't the case when we were there and had a little more time together as people that go to school together. What actually ended up happening is I went in one direction. I was probably too greedy to go into coaching. I wanted to make more money than coaches make, I thought.
To the extent that there's any problem between the two of you, is the problem more one of ego, stepping into each other's spotlight?
Bob.
Or is it a problem with a flawed working relationship in some way where you might disagree about personnel, and he is, after all, the owner, president, and general manager, and he has to sign off on all those moves? So what I'm getting to is it more the personal thing on the ego side, like, hey, Jerry, get out of here, I'm the coach, or is there actually a practical objection?
No, I think as far as having something that's flawed in the working relationship, I don't think that there's anything close to that. I think as far as the decision-making, I don't know that it could be any better than the way it is right now. And we've really never had a controversy as far as making decisions and as far as what we wanted to do with the Dallas Cowboys.
Here's a quote from Jimmy, and he's issued several like it, but this will suffice. He says, "It's obvious Jerry is a frustrated football coach." Now, you told Frank DeFord, "I'll tell you what, I could coach this team. I could coach the blank out of this team." And you went on to say you weren't prepared to give it the time and the dedication that Jimmy would bring to it, and perhaps wouldn't have the background maybe so that you would be able to pull it off walking right in the door and get the faith of the players. But you seem to believe that just on pure ability you could do it. And he thinks you're a frustrated football coach.
Well, he's right, and in terms of being a frustrated football coach. But most frustrated football coaches that have any sense at all are sitting at home watching it behind the television set, not trying to take the Dallas Cowboys and step out there and try to win Super Bowls with it. I think too much of not only Jimmy, but the great coaches of the game that have been here, Coach Lombardi, Coach Landry. I think too much. I couldn't be sitting in this chair if I actually was serious about stepping out there and really doing it.
Suppose there were a button you could push and the players would accept you walking into the locker room as the coach. You wouldn't have to clear that credibility barrier.
It's really
Do you think you could coach an NFL team?
When I'm through and they put me in the ground, my coaching record's going to be 0-0.
But could you do it?
I said no. No, not at all.
Now, this question, I think, would be different if I put it to Marv Levy about Ralph Wilson, who is one sort of owner, as opposed to putting it to you about Jerry Jones, who is owner, president, and general manager. So in that context, do you respect his football knowledge?
Yeah, I respect Jerry's football knowledge as an owner and as somebody that loves the game.
So that's just part of it. But Bob Costas got the hottest interview you could get because they were saying that they're clearly the two most sought after sports people at the time. They're winning and they clearly don't like each other. And he got them to sit down and just went in because he got this opportunity.
Is Bob Costas still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Bravo. You need to reach out to Bob Costas because that man is skilled.
Skilled mediator.
Yeah, he's a skilled mediator and he's asking the tough questions. I was like, man, drag their asses, Bob. Okay, so, I mean, this is not like the most astute observation anybody listening or anybody who knows about this would make this observation, but Jerry Jones just wanted to be a coach.
Well, he kept saying that he wouldn't do it and he kept downplaying coaching as a profession and how much money you could make off it, and that was the only reason he didn't do it.
I have a question here. At the time or even now, it's uncommon for an owner, obviously it's uncommon for an owner to be a GM as well, but it's uncommon for an owner to like be on the sidelines so much, right?
Yes. Okay. I think Al Davis, the guy from the Oakland Raiders, did that a lot. But Jerry Jones is kind of one of the guys who popularized the owner on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Owner gets his hands in there.
I mean, like, if I were Jimmy Johnson, like, that would really bother me because, like, you're just, like, being supervised by someone who is, like, basically micromanaging you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
So Johnson and Jones win 2 Super Bowls, and then after those 2 Super Bowls, they should just keep winning, right? But their feud comes to a head, and it gets so bad that Jerry ends up like letting Jimmy go or firing him or not really, or Johnson leaves. One of those situations where no one really wants to admit that it's a firing or whatever. And he brings in another old friend from the Arkansas days and college coach at Oklahoma in the meantime, Barry Switzer.
Okay.
And this guy's got all of his own problems, which we won't get into, but he was equally hated in Texas.
Really?
Because he's from Oklahoma. He's an Oklahoma college football coach, rival of the Texas Longhorns. And, you know, all during that time. So
I don't know much about like college football rivalries, but I had a friend in my 20s who went to Oklahoma and she always would do like, Longhorns suck.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Down, Longhorns down.
Yeah.
Horns down. There's an article in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram from 1994 with opinions about the whole Jimmy and Jerry firing situation, and I'll have you read some of those because it was like similar to the Tom Landry line. They just sort of opened up this section to be like all these little quotes from fans.
Oh my God. My opinion on the Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer situation is Jerry is rubbing salt in Jimmy's wounds by hiring Barry. And no matter what they say on television, Jimmy was fired. Why would he walk away from the best team in the league? Jerry wants the whole 9 yards. Owner, manager, and coach. I have one thing to say about the Cowboys coaching situation. Who cares? It's Jerry's team to do with as he pleases. He signs all those mega buck paychecks and he runs the show. You know, with all this cowboy crap going on, no one seems to notice that the Stars are in the playoffs and the Rangers are about to open season in a great new ballpark. Okay, this person is a plant. Renee Trosper of Arlington is fake. That is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson are both egomaniacal, self-centered, power-obsessed jerks, but at least Johnson was good at his job. Jones is just a glad-handing, showboating clown. However, since he who has the gold makes the rules, Johnson is gone and we're stuck with the clown. But Barry Switzer, are we to be spared nothing? Oh my God, so dramatic. A man whose personal morality makes Madonna look like Mother Teresa, whose sense of ethics makes Ivan Besky look like Billy Graham.
These references.
I don't even know who those people are. And a Texas hater to boot. Who would want a job on the right side of the Red River? Can he do his job surrounded by people who hate him? This is so dramatic. Also to come in and be like, his ethics are bad.
Yeah,
like,
well, they are. So here is a little thing that I found from a blog from Colorado Buffaloes fans who hate Oklahoma talking about Barry Switzer stories.
Uh-huh.
Apparently back in the 1977 season, Switzer had been drilling his defensive coordinator's wife. DC finds out about it between the end of the regular season and the bowl game. OU is 11-0, ranked number 1 and heavily favored to beat Arkansas in the Orange Bowl. OU gets drilled in the bowl game. He loves the word drilled. Yeah. OU gets drilled in the bowl game, and after the game, the defensive coordinator walks up to Barry, tells him he knows what he's been doing with his wife, and says that he called the wrong defensive alignments on purpose as payback, and then he quit. I can't verify this stuff about the defensive coordinator quitting, but the other stuff lines up with how the season went down. Heard it from a guy at our tailgate yesterday who knew some big OU boosters back in the day.
Oh my God.
That was just the only thing I could find about Barry Switzer's character.
Wait, that's so funny. So his defensive coordinator basically threw the game and was like, I know you're screwing my wife.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then dropped the mic and left. I kind of love that.
Yeah. That was just a little anecdote. So to sort of just wrap up that 90s Jimmy Johnson era, I'm going to play you a little clip from Joe Buck's podcast that he had
of course
or something, or has the Undeniable show. He talked to Michael Irvin, one of the players on that team or those teams, about the situation.
So the obvious story after that is Jimmy leaving, fired, quitting, whatever, doesn't matter. He wasn't there. Because Troy says, Emmett has said, there's no telling how many we could have won had Jimmy stayed there. How do you feel about that?
Exactly the same way. And, you know, we talk about it all the time. We could have won 5 or 6 Super Bowls. We really believe that. I think that, you know, and it was so hard. It was hard for me because, remember, Jimmy was my guy. College and then here in the NFL. And how do you send a car to the shop when it's the best driving car on the lot? What did we need to fix here? How did this happen? So we were all stunned. We were all stunned.
Were you mad or disappointed at Jimmy?
I was probably more upset at Jerry for allowing it to happen than Jimmy. You know, because you understand, I understood the business side of it. And I remember even when the people would come in trying to get interviews. I mean, I was off the chain. I was throwing garbage cans at the people. They would come in trying to get out of this locker room and throwing garbage cans. And I was just so upset that Jimmy was not there. All along, when this thing was brewing, I never thought it would get to this.
You never thought it could happen?
I never, no way you're getting rid of the guy that comes off of winning back-to-back Super Bowls. Just there's no way that's going to happen. And then it did.
Why do you think he left? Why do you think Jerry pushed?
I don't know. I knew that it was some stuff going on because Jimmy wanted to run such a tight ship. Jerry wanted to make football bigger than life, which is what he's basically done. You know what I mean? He wanted to make big ball.
That.
You cannot argue that. And he wanted to bring in princes and everything. Jimmy wanted that locker room door closed, especially if we lost. He was not in any mood to let Jerry bring all these people around. And I think that was what started it. You know, Jerry couldn't play with his team. Jimmy wouldn't allow it. And Jerry, I guess, just got tired of it.
Princes?
I think you're just referring to, like, he wanted to bring royalty and people into the locker rooms and show it off and be like, look what I've created here with the Cowboys, and you can be a part of it, and here's our coach, and here's our players. He wanted access to the cheerleaders. You could, have them bring you a beer.
He wanted to, like, be king of his domain, basically.
Hugh Hefner is a good comp. All right, so now we'll move on from that era to some of Jerry Jones' other sort of business maverick success stories. I found some article that basically just like sucked his dick. This is from ESPN. Jones pushed the NFL's groupthink marketing strategy. He didn't believe he needed help from other teams to make money, nor did he want any. In this article, it basically just details how Jones changed football and sort of brought more marketing mind to football. He actually didn't want to even be associated with some of the NFL's marketing efforts and wanted to do his own things. Like the NFL was basically pushing Coke products, and he cut his own deal with Pepsi, like stuff like that. He basically just said, like, I can do it better than the NFL's marketing people. Just let me have my own.
This guy
thing.
like really likes wagging his dick around.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Barry Switzer won the Super Bowl in '95. So he's still.
Is that 3 back-to-back Super Bowls?
No, they lost one. In between.
Okay. It kind of seems like we should be giving the team members most of the credit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It generally seemed like people didn't really like Barry in Dallas because he was from Oklahoma, and he replaced Jimmy Johnson, who they didn't have a problem with. So, yeah, he was never really liked, but he did win one. His coaching style was much more hands-off than Jimmy Johnson's. He was much more like you guys are adults. You know what you're doing, whereas Jimmy Johnson was really gung-ho face of the team.
It's pretty clear that, I mean, obviously, like, there were probably changes to who was on the team during those years, but, like, it's pretty clear that, like, the people who were on that team, like, knew how to, like, win and get the job done, regardless of whatever stupid drama was going on in, like, the higher offices.
And I think that drama was mostly about, like, who brought those guys in.
It's
and
so
Jerry
stupid.
says it was him, and Jimmy says it's probably Jimmy because he actually knew these players.
It's just also so stupid. Like, who cares?
Yeah. So in 2002, Fox had Jimmy and Jerry talk about the issues between them. Like, the time had passed enough, and they were like, let's air some grievances. Let's try to do this same talk that you saw on that CNN again.
This is so funny. This is like the sports version of like an Andy Cohen hosting a Bravo reunion.
Yeah. So here is Jimmy and Jerry with Fox in 2002.
Okay.
You know, Jerry and I went to college together back many years ago at the University of Arkansas, and so I had a great relationship, and people have always asked, well, you got that kind of relationship, you win back-to-back Super Bowls, why couldn't you stay together? Today we find out.
Frank Broyles told me one time that while I played there at school, he had 2 genius IQs on the team. And he said, Jones, you're not one of them. But one of them I thought was Jimmy. And so your intellect, your ability to focus and solve problems were a source of comfort for me. And so that when I made the commitment I made, which was a reach to get to be a part of the future of the NFL, it was a hell of a feeling to know that we were back to back.
Everything was going good. In your opinion, how did it go different? You know, why did we split, in your opinion?
From my perspective, when we had success, then I started not being as tolerant of things that wouldn't have even crossed my mind in our years when we were really trying to get this thing going.
Right.
I let media, I let some of the things we kept talking about. We talked when we first got involved. We weren't going to let this media. Now, remember, this media's going right. They were going to hit. But I let some of those things possibly get you in a bad mood from time to time, get me in a bad mood, bad mood from time to time. And candidly, Jimmy, I detected from you a this is not for long feeling.
You know, if it hadn't have been that year, it would have been the next year or the year after. I was going to move. I had made up my mind. I wanted to move back to South Florida. At the NFL owners meeting in Orlando, it was widely reported that I didn't raise my glass when Jerry visited my table. The reported snub is what many people believe set off the chain of events leading to my departure from the Cowboys. But I will say this. I did toast to you in Orlando. I did. You may not remember it that way because there were some people at the table that no longer work for the Cowboys that they did not toast. I didn't think anything about it. You said, toast, and, a couple of people went like awkward. They weren't going to toast because they didn't work here anymore. They didn't have Super Bowl rings. But I went, I wasn't paying attention, and I did toast.
I believe you, and candidly, I think that we both should recognize that you knew that I really didn't think 500 coaches could coach this football team. That I really didn't believe that.
Of all the things, you and I have known each other for, let's see, how many years now?
65, so that's going on 40 years.
Yeah, getting close to 40 years. Of all the things, that hurt me more than anything. Because I did know how you felt about me. Yeah. And I recognize that you knew my contribution. Maybe 500 could. They were a good enough football team. 500 coaches could coach them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we both knew we didn't believe that.
Yeah, that one thing, I think that's what put me over the edge to end up doing what I wanted to eventually do anyway.
Yeah, I'll never forget. You were sitting in that chair.
Right.
And I'm sitting in this particular chair. Mm-hmm. And we had met the day before. Mm-hmm. And we said, let's go home and sleep on this.
Right, yeah.
And
we were talking about let's do it for one more year.
Yeah.
And we talked about possibly doing it for one more year.
Exactly. We come in the next morning, and I think one of the writers around here had written in one of the papers, Jones says, my way or the highway.
Well, I remember it like it was yesterday. And I picked up that paper, and I was still, when I walked out of the house, Rhonda says, what are you going to do? And I said, Rhonda, I don't know. In all honesty, I said, I don't know. And I came in, I picked up the paper and I said, oh no, it's the same old crap again. And that's when I came in here, and you and I both looked at each other, and then we both realized that it's not going to work.
Okay, I actually really love this because, man, how often do you get to see like two older men like have kind of like an honest to goodness heart to heart where they like acknowledge some of their, like, I'm not saying Jerry Jones is a good guy, and he was a little bit not like fully transparent, I don't think, in this interview. But it does seem like both of these men have sort of processed it, and they were like apologizing and recognizing, especially Jerry Jones, recognizing, he didn't say this, but in so many words, like he was insecure and was having trouble handling that. So that was really interesting, actually.
Yeah, you kind of get to see the whole arc there.
Like imagine like two older men in your family, and I use your royally. Imagine two like older men in your family who have been feuding for years, being able to sit down and be like, I was kind of having a hard time. And
like they didn't even get to everything, but the fact that they were just talking about it is progress.
Also the music clips being Mr. Jones by the Counting Crows and then Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Mr. Jones.
And Mr. Jones, I just got why they did that. Oh God. Wow.
Mr. Jones and me look into the future, and we stare at the beautiful women.
So now I want to move on to Jerry Jones more recently.
Okay.
He still owns the Cowboys.
Really?
Yes. And he basically built them into one of the biggest businesses known to man. Like the Cowboys are like a many billion-dollar business on their own. And he sort of used that to start other business ventures, buy more oil, I think. And
unsurprising.
Be involved in gas.
Loves gas.
So basically for Jones, it's all just like house money at this point, meaning like he's got all the money he would ever want. And the Cowboys are just like his fun project, and he wants to win again. But he has not won a Super Bowl since those ones with Jimmy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Or with Barry, I guess, the last one with Barry.
Huh.
Yeah. According to a Forbes article, the Cowboys alone turned an operating profit of $466 million last year.
Jesus.
And he is the owner of several planes and a helicopter and a yacht named Eugenia after his wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why won't you ever name a yacht after me?
Well,
how rude.
I gotta get one. All three of his kids with his wife Eugenia are currently executives with the team. Steven, his eldest, is the COO, and Jerry's right-hand man, Charlotte, oversees the organization's brand, and Jerry Jr. runs marketing and sales.
Okay.
So it is a little bit of nepotism going on there.
He is really noted lover of nepotism.
Yeah. In the article for Forbes, Jones says, I have spent a life under financial pressure, self-inflicted a bunch of it. This is the best I felt financially, and so it makes these challenges and the future a lot of fun.
This is the best I've felt financially, and therefore it's the best I've felt emotionally.
Yes.
That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
But I can relate.
So here's where we get into a little bit of the dark area of Jerry Jones more recently. In 2014, he was accused of sexual assault by an exotic dancer And I'll have you read a little bit from the Philadelphia Daily News story about this.
Okay. A former exotic dancer on Monday sued Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, accusing him of sexual assault after a June 2009 incident at a local hotel. Jana Weckerly, 27, from Ardmore, Oklahoma, seeking more than $1 million in punitive damages. The encounter between Jones and the three women was first detailed last month in a rambling manifesto by Frank Hoover of Wichita, Kansas. He included 3 photos of the Cowboys owner and 2 women in sexually seductive poses. Ugh.
Yeah, so that doesn't look good for Jerry.
It sure doesn't, but I'm not even remotely surprised.
Yes. Then, in March of 2022,
it's so recent.
Jones was served with legal action by a 25-year-old woman named Alexandra Davis, who claimed that he is her biological father. The woman is the daughter of a former airline employee that Jones met in Little Rock, Arkansas back in the day.
Yeah, 100%.
Jones has paid nearly $3 million to the woman and her mother, which included the woman's full tuition at SMU and a $70,000 Range Rover on her 16th birthday.
Oh, so he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew.
Jones allegedly paid off Alex and her mom to go away. Jones said that he was being extorted by Alexandra for more money.
For being her father.
Here is a story from Fox 4 Dallas about this.
Oh my God.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones wants a lawsuit filed against him, tossed out of court.
It was filed by a young woman who says that Jones is her father. Hannah's here with the details.
Yeah, Tim and Lauren, the woman claiming to be the biological daughter of the Dallas Cowboys owner filed that lawsuit earlier this month. 25-year-old Alexandra Davis alleges Jerry Jones paid her and her mother to keep the paternity confidential. Davis believes she does not legally need to keep that information quiet. She's asking the court to determine she is not bound by that 1998 agreement. At the time, Jones denied he was her father. In a court filing Monday, attorneys for Jones said Davis had made several attempts to extort money from the Cowboys owner. They claim Alexandra Davis offered a negotiated deal before the suit was filed in exchange for her silence. Davis first appeared on TV with her mom in 2012 for a show called Big Rich Texas. The reality series followed wealthy mothers in North Texas and their daughters. At an NFL meeting yesterday, Jones refused to comment on the story, calling it a personal issue. The next court hearing on this case is set for Thursday.
Can we go back to the beginning of that clip? Because the female reporter at the beginning of that clip is so fucking over Jerry Jones. It's not even funny.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones wants a lawsuit filed against him, tossed out of court.
It was filed by a young woman who says that Jones is her father. Hannah's here with the details.
Hannah's here with the details.
She just seems so fucking exhausted of like this fucking guy.
So,
I mean, maybe she was having a bad day. But.
Yeah, as that story mentioned, Alexandra was on Big Rich Texas. And this is a video of Alexandra's Sweet 16 funded by Jerry Jones, most likely.
Wait a minute. So she only came out with this information publicly after this had already aired.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
We're going to start lighting the cake, and I am
This is Cynthia.
Everyone that's here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming and making this a special night for my daughter. I love her, and I hope you guys are having fun. So they're going to light the candles, and then someone with a voice in the audience is going to sing it.
Okay, where's Alex at? Alex?
Back there.
Oh, hey, what's going on, girl? Happy birthday. Let's give Alex a hand clap. She's 16. We love you. Happy birthday to you.
If they were on this reality show, they were known for like being wealthy Texans, but I guess it was unclear why they were wealthy. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so Alexandra came out and said, hey, Jerry Jones is my dad. He refuses it and says that like she can't talk about that. And that they had already like had like a hush money
I was like,
thing.
I already paid you a bunch of money to never say that.
But then in March of 2024, here's another story.
That you mean yesterday?
Yeah.
We don't know when it all happened, but a judge has ordered Cowboys owner Jerry Jones to take a paternity test. WFA's Richard Solomon has the details.
27-year-old Alexandra Davis originally sued Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones back in 2022, seeking recognition as his biological daughter. Now that he has to take this DNA test, she might get the answer that she's been longing for. The lawsuit claimed Jones courted Davis's mother in 1995 in Arkansas. In a statement given at WFAA last night, Davis's attorney, Chris Hayes, wrote, "The ruling by Judge Sandra Jackson is a huge victory for many families." It later says, in part, her ruling proves that being a rich, powerful person does not mean you are above the law.
Hell yeah.
WFAA reported last November a judge in the U.S. District Court dismissed the defamation suit filed by Davis last October, but the judge allowed Davis's lawyers the opportunity to refile their complaint. That alleged Jones, his lawyer, and a consultant portrayed her as an extortionist. And Hayes went on to say in the statement that Davis will no longer, quote, have to hide her truth, and that she's also given a voice to all children in her position. For now, in Arlington this morning, I'm Richard Solomon.
Damn, good for her.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we end, because that just happened.
Do you think that at any point during the testimony, they were like, Cynthia, tell us more about your time with Jerry? And she was like, he would not stop talking about Jimmy Johnson and how much he was better than Jimmy Johnson.
And she was just like a sounding board for his Jimmy Johnson
that's
qualms.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Jones, you are not a great person. It's been clear this entire time that you've been a guy who likes to sort of cover up his insecurities with a bunch of like blatant lies.
Yeah.
So like, sorry that you're getting what's coming to you, but I'm not sorry.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Jerry Jones now?
Oh, he sucks. I mean, he's like part of, you know how I feel about like old rich white men who think they can get away with everything negatively.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of a good return to ripping
roots.
on some of the rich people in sports.
Yeah. I mean, he started out his life rich. He got richer. He seems to think he can find a way to dodge like everything bad that he's ever done by just like manipulating the press and lying and
throwing
whatnot.
money at it.
Yeah, and throwing money at it. And to a certain extent, like throwing money at the problem will usually help, but like it's 2024, bud. Like you're not getting out of this.
You're not going to just tell someone that you're not their dad when you are.
Yeah.
Like
also, I feel bad for Alexandra, who like she probably doesn't want him to be her dad in the sense that like he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But good for her for pursuing this, and like good for her for, like she said, giving a voice to other people in this situation, because I can't even begin to imagine the sheer number of celebrity secret children that there are in the world.
Yeah. Haven't thought about that.
Oh, there's probably so many. So many. So yeah, I mean, he's a bad dude who sucks. I hope Eugenia is okay. I hope all the wives are okay. And if not, I recently learned that a way to make a housewife's life easier is to get some beefalo.
Yes, this is all an ad for beefalo.
Yeah, this is
mostly.
We own some shares in beefalo.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Lean meat, keto friendly. All right. Well, thanks for watching and listening.
What a wild ride.
If you'd like to support us, you can do that on Patreon, like we mentioned up top. There are bonus episodes over there, and it just helps us be able to make some money from this show and keep it going.
We appreciate everyone who's already a patron. We appreciate if you've already left a review. We appreciate it if you're just listening. We love that.
We really do. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Do